says it depends. But the Gemara is going to explain this in a moment. But if there are brothers there, then the brothers do chalitza and you just leave him out. But if there is no one else there, then that maybe comes in and says, well, maybe he's a eunuch, but maybe he's not, and then he does chalitza as well. So the wording here throws you off, because you have in one sentence, we said, no, who says you do chalitza? Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda that says the tumtum doesn't do chalitza. Because maybe, we're looking for the maybe. We found the maybe, but the wording we have to adjust. Because that, when does he say loy choyletz? That's only if there are other brothers. But if there are no other brothers, there's only this one brother, then he would do chalitza. Because we take the other side of the maybe. Well, maybe he's not a eunuch, and then he should do chalitza. The Gemara asks, "Atu kol the mikra zachar mishtakach nekevlei mishtakach." Why do you say that maybe that when you're going to open up, you're going to see that he's really when the skin will tear or whatever, you'll see what's going on inside. You see that he's really a male. Maybe he's going to be a female. The Gemara says, "Shema kamer, shema yikra v'nimtzu nekevi, nami zachar, nami shema yimtzu srischama." What we meant was, even if it's a zachar, maybe it's going to. Even if it's a male, maybe it's going to be a eunuch.
If all the brothers are doing chalitza, why do you
really only have to do one.
But if you were doing all the brothers, why do you have to embarrass him and have him not do it when you're saying in the case where he's the only one he would do it?
No. Chalitza, you only need one brother to do the chalitza. And Yibam as well, you only need one brother to do it. One does the chalitza, one does the... It's only one brother has to do this.
Oh, because I thought you said all the brothers.
No. So if there are other brothers, then you get another brother to do it.
Oh, any one
of them. If it's if none of them want to do it, then chalitza is done. If no one wants to marry this woman, then chalitza is done. You just get one brother to do that. But if there's no other brothers but him, then he does chalitza. My binayu. What's the difference between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi? That one says that you don't do chalitza, and the other one says you don't do chalitza. One says you don't do chalitza because he's definitely a eunuch. The other one says you don't do chalitza because maybe he's a eunuch, but either way you don't do chalitza. Rava, the Rava explains that there's a difference between them. Lifsal b'makamachim. Let's say this guy, let's say there are brothers there that wanted to marry this woman. They would have liked to do yivam. Comes along this brother and jumps ahead and does chalitza. Now once chalitza is done, then the other brothers can't do yivam because she's already been dismissed from this marriage. So, but if this brother doesn't matter anyway because he's not counted at all, because he was never eligible to do chalitza, so then the other brothers can still come in and do that. But if we say that maybe he's a eunuch, but maybe not, then the other brothers can't marry her. And the next case is what about chalitza when there are no other brothers? Do we have this person do chalitza just in case? So, according to Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda, yes, because maybe he's not a eunuch, maybe he is, maybe he's not. According to Rabbi Yehuda himself, we say no, there's no point. We say that he's definitely a eunuch. We start the next parak. Mumen elu. These mumen, we're learning about defects in a sacrifice, in a bechor, in a sacrifice. We mentioned that it also applies to a kohen for his being eligible to serve in the temple. So we say that these that we've mentioned before regarding a bechor, bein kavuin, bein oivin, whether they're permanent or whether they're just temporary and passing, psulin, paislin ba'adam, they would invalidate a kohen from working in the temple. And what it means, whether they're passing, is like this: that if there was an animal that had a mum oiver, a temporary mum, then you don't sacrifice it while it's there, but afterwards there's no problem. And the same would be if there's a kohen that has a temporary mum. He should not be serving while he has this deformed something or whatever. You wait for it to heal, this blemish, wait for it to heal, and then he'll be able to serve. So it's exactly the same. However, b'yeser aleim, there are extra mumin that a kohen has that are not in an animal. One is hakilain, where the Gemara is going to explain, it means the top of the head is pointy. and it comes down like a triangle. Halifton is the opposite. The top of the head is wider, and it comes down like a triangle, but the opposite. And the hamakvan is where the head is like oblong. It's like flat on the top, I think. I'm not sure exactly. It's rest. It's a deformed head. Did I give you a word for it?
Hammer-like.
Hammer-like. Okay.
His forehead protruded.
Oh, that's what it is. So far it's protruding. Okay. Visharoishay shakut. Or the head is in an incline? Indentation. Indented. Sakifas. How do they translate sakifas?
The back of his head protrudes.
The back of the head protrudes. Bali chatoiros or chatoitros is where there's two possibilities. Either there's something on the eye, or there's something on his back. There's a humpback. Now, regarding this last case, Bali chatoitros, this humpback, Rabbi Yehuda machshir v'chachamim paislan. Rabbi Yehuda says that's acceptable. The Chacham say that's considered a mum. It's not acceptable. We're referring to a human, not to the animals. Hakireach, someone that's bald. Puzzle, he can't serve in the temple. Ezo kareach, who is bald, who's considered bald. Kol she'ein lo yishita shel sar mukefet yoizen loizen. I don't know what this means. Doesn't mean if he doesn't have a row of hair going from ear to ear. Does that mean behind the head or in front of the head? Behind
the
back.
In the back. In the back. Doesn't have any hair at all, so it's fully bald. Okay. Im yesh lo, but if he does have a reza kasha, then he's acceptable. Okay.
You're okay, you're safe. He's looking around.
You're feeling the hair.
That's why it's got to be the back.
The what's it called?
You got to represent North Miami Beach, That's Menachem.
The evolutionary biologists say that if you're bald, you're more advanced. You're further away from the apes. So.
Testosterone.
Is that what it is?
I know that's one of them.
Yeah, there's a saying, Arosh Pikeach Sar Tipesh Lot Sameach.
Oh my God.
1 second, say that slow.
Arosh
Kireach.
Pikeach
Oh, okay.
Sar Tipesh Lot Sameach.
All those surveys were done. I want to see the pool with
If you're
people.
smart, no dumb heroes grow.
I have a feeling they're all the same characteristics.
Okay. Amai, the Gemara asks, why are these invalidating a person? Yabeles, the likes of Bairaisa, Ba'adam. Why are we saying everything that animals have, every blemish that's a blemish by an animal is automatically by a human? Why? By the animal, it has a yabeles. Yabeles is like a wart, which it doesn't say by the human. Besu, and also, duck tavlod like behema. We don't say, we have these other two things, other types of blemishes that are by the human that aren't by the animal. There are also types of warts, right?
One is
Cataract.
and they don't.
And the tavla. The tavla we said was the eye color was mixed. The white and the black, or the white was. The Gemara explains Melech Yalfim Yadadi. We learn one from the other. I would grant it doesn't, when it repeats it for the blemishes by the human, it doesn't say all of them. When it repeats it by the animal, it doesn't say all of them. But we learn one from the other to fill in the missing ones. The Tanya was taught in a brisa. Ba'adam le'nemer ba'yabeles. By the human, it doesn't say the wart. B'behema le'nemer dak tavl. It doesn't say the blemishes of the eye in the animal. Minayin litin l'sa'amar shel zeh b'zeh v'amar shel zeh b'zeh. How do you know that you take the ones from this one to that one, the ones from that one to this one to fill in the missing ones? Talmud leimer garav garav. Yalefes l'gzer shava. You probably have to remove one of those. Yeah. Garav Yalefes. Now you switch it. So we have Gzer Shava, this analogy, because we have these words that are said the same here, the same there. We say, because that you have that analogy, you have that comparison. It says this word here, and it says the same word there. That tells me that there's a comparison in the whole subject. The Gemara explains mufni. It has to be that these words are extra. Now, the way it works is whenever I do a gezeira shava, that means I make this analogy between it. It says a word here, it says a word there. We're going to take the whole subject here and put it there, and the whole subject and put it there. That's only if they're perfectly comparable. But if they're not perfectly comparable, then I'm going to say, 1 second, this one is unique. I can't take all of that to there. The only way that I can take the whole thing is if the word is extra. When the word is extra, then it allows me, even though I can say that they're different, I'm still going to do the comparison. Eily mufni, because if it's not extra, I can ask a question. If you can't learn a human from an animal, the animal is much more serious. The animal is being sacrificed. The human is just doing the ceremony. So we'll say that the animal has more laws. The human, it's not actually going up on the altar to be sacrificed. So therefore, you don't have as many blemishes. And maybe I won't learn the animal from a human. Humans have much more mitzvahs. They have more laws. The Gemara says, Le'i. That's true. We have to say that it's extra. Let the Torah just write yalefes, the word. And I don't need garav, which is the other type of word. And I would say like this. We're saying that garav, that type of word, is or boil, that type is totally extra, didn't need to say it. Because it says already yalefes. My yalefes le'misa, just like yalefes, which is a type of word which happens to be it's wet and it's not as gross. Havemuma, that's a mum. Garav, which is dry and it's like shrivels up the skin, it looks like it's cracked. The ma'is, that's more disgusting. Like koshkin for sure is a mum. If the other one is a mum for sure, so why does it have to say it? It's extra. The Gemara says Garav, the Kasar Rahman Alamali. Why does it say it? No, you should leave it extra. Now that it's extra, now I learn animals from humans. We have it extra. The Gemara says V'lichter Rahman Akula B'chad. The Garav Yalef is Hacha V'hacha. V'lel F'chada. Why do I need the whole list according to this? If we can learn one from the other, because I have just one word. Garav and Yalefes. And Yalefes would have been enough, and Garav is extra. Don't make the whole list by one of them. Just write the list by one. We have two categories: humans and animals. Write the list by one of them. Write included in that list Yalefes and Garav. Don't write anything by the other one. Let's say by the animals. Just write Yalefes and Garav is extra. He says Yalefes, and I'll know the whole list. Why do you have to make the whole list and leave something out? Don't write anything. The Gemara says, Ahei lichtiv Rachman. Which one did you want to write it? Ikasa ba'adam. If it would say the list by the man, by the humans. Havamina, I would have said, Kol the pasal ba'adam pasal b'hema. Anything that invalidates a man would also invalidate an animal. Kolot, v'chutin. If the feet are webbed, or in the mouth, there's a problem with the gums. The lesson about them that's not a blemish by a human. The behemoth lives. Then it shouldn't be a blemish because I have no original source by an animal. I'm trying to learn everything from humans. So let's go the other way. Write the list by animals, and we'll learn humans from animals. So Havamina called the pasal behemoth, pasal ba'adam. I would say that anything that invalidates an animal would invalidate a human. So gibein, the charum, gibein is the eye thing. Gibein is the eye. I'm sorry. Possibly the nose is too high between the eyes, or maybe it has to do with the eyebrows, sunken nose, or blemished eyebrows. So these things which don't apply to an animal, I would say, look, I only have the list by the animals. It's not going to invalidate a human. The lesson behemoth, but it shouldn't invalidate a human either. So the Gemara says, okay, let it write it by one, either by the humans or by the animals. And only fill in the missing ones. Don't write everything that's repetitive. ba'adam in lichter from behima. V'hanach lesnu beidach lichter ba'adam. And the ones that are missing by the other one, you just write over there. The garav yalefes hachav v'hachav l'elf ma'adadi, and you only write the extra one, which is garav in yalefes. And yalefes is the one that would tell me that a wart. In garav, which is the other type of wart, it doesn't need to write. So I would learn the whole parsha from one to the other.
But then you might think it's a klal or prat, because all of a sudden you're giving within the klal some specifics. In the
There's no
klal,
answer.
Now you
I leave out the klal, just make the pratim. And then it will say, any animal that has a garav in yalefes, plus this and that, or the missing things, will say, oh, garav. Why did I have to say garav? You don't need to say garav, you already said yalefes. So it's coming to tell me the garav from there applies here. Ela katana de Rabbi Yishmael, rather it was like the Tana de Rabbi Yishmael. It was taught in the house of Rabbi Yishmael. The Tana de Rabbi Yishmael, kol parsha shenemra v'nishnis, every section of the Torah that was repeated. It doesn't. You don't need a chiddush from every word of that point. You only need one chiddush from that point, one new halacha, and that's enough.
Sufficient.
So therefore,
Justified.
the fact that all the mumen were said by animals, and all the mumen were said by kayanim, by humans, there's really only one or 2 points that are extra, and it was said just for those extra points, and the whole thing is added just for those points. Should we stop here? Let's stop over here.
A little while ago, we had a discussion. We tried to compare the fur by a child versus fur by an animal. I remember we had a debate maybe a month and a half ago. Remember this, Gemara?
Watching his assets over here.
Okay.
I forgot what context it was. Why we were trying to compare the fur of a
yes.
human